Hi, my name's Dominique. I'm going to be your host for this evening. Welcome to the Q&A with Leona Lewis. Hi, Leona. How are you? How's everything been?
I'm good. Everything's good. Kind of like you guys, just staying at home as much as possible. And yeah, to introduce myself, I'm Leona. I'm a singer-songwriter. Performed at the Hackney Empire a lot growing up because I grew up in Hackney. So I did one of my first shows there when I was 13, I think. So it's been a very special place to me. So I'm glad that this program is going. Um, I didn't have that when I was younger, but if I did, I would definitely be part of it. But yeah, just been, handling the lockdown, I think, as best as I can. A lot of songwriting, a lot of creating, trying to just put everything into my music, basically.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, what have you been doing today? Like, I don't know, what's been on your agenda today?
So I'm in LA at the moment.
Oh,
On
LA
the
living, LA way.
But I just got back from London about 3 weeks ago. It's morning here, so I've literally just started my day. Took my dog for a walk, and then just came home. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. And you've got three dogs, you said.
Yeah, so everyone, I've got three dogs. They might start popping off a bit, like, and barking and being a bit crazy sometimes. So I just allow them for a minute, and then they'll pipe down.
Cool, awesome. So let's go on to you just for a sec again. Um, so how was it like? What's your creative process? Like, what do you do in terms of like creativity? How would you write? How would you do certain like write
Um,
maybe?
I collaborate a lot with different songwriters, but my own personal process is basically I always have my phone to like voice memo whenever I can. I've always got like a little pad by my bed as well, because I don't know, for some reason I get ideas at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I'll just like wake up and have something in my head. So I've always got a pad beside my bed, and I'll just like write down ideas. And I just write and write and write, just whenever throughout the day or whenever, so that when I actually sit down to actually be like, okay, I want to record something or make something of one of these ideas, I have like a stream of consciousness just written on pages and pages of like kind of almost like diary slash journaling slash just whatever's coming to my head. I just write, and then I kind of try and make sense of it. If I have a session or if I'm collaborating with someone, I'll kind of pick like sentences or words or a phrase, or I don't know, someone could have said something like
Right,
flowers, for example, and then I'll like pick that and like write around it. Like it just has to be a very kind of stream of consciousness kind of process.
right. Do you usually find it easier to like write and then pair it to a instrumental or listen to an instrumental and then write?
When I first started writing, when I was like 12, 13, my cousin was a producer, and he would like send me tracks and tracks and tracks and tracks. So I would just write over tracks. That's all I did, was write over tracks. And then as I got older, and developed more of my own style, I would write melodies, a lot of melodies. And then eventually I kind of self-taught myself piano so that I could put chords together with the melodies. So now I mainly do kind of writing and the music together instead of writing over instrumentals. But I sometimes still do that. It depends.
Okay, cool, awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
And yeah,
Could you tell us a little bit about how you kind of have got to where you are? I think that would be useful as a kind of overstep.
right.
Yeah. So maybe most of you know me from winning X Factor. Um, but before that, there was a very long journey to get there. Like I said, I started songwriting when I was like 12, 13, just over my cousin's instrumentals. And then when I was 13, I actually did a talent competition at the Hackney Empire, and I came first place. And after that show, there were a couple of producers there that were like, oh, we'll give you some studio time. So I just kind of made relationships with different people that would let me get in the studio and record. And I like came back to the Empire like the next year and performed, collaborated with different people that I would meet at gigs. And I would just go in, constantly write, constantly just be in the studio, like all the time recording. And then eventually I met a production company that I signed a deal with, and I recorded an EP and I did a video and all the things. And I started promoting that and gigging that. And a year later is when I entered into the X Factor. And I think at that point, when I did the show, I already kind of had a lot of experience under my belt as a songwriter, as an artist that kind of knew kind of where I wanted to go. So when I got to do the show and then eventually got a record deal, I kind of was already had the vision of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And then I recorded my album, and now I've just been, yeah, like lucky enough to have like over a decade of a career, well, 15 years actually, in music, and just still, you know, writing, recording, and doing the same thing that I've always done.
Amazing. Ooh, love that. So, does anyone have any questions for Leona? I think we're just gonna go. Yeah, Chantel, you can start it off.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chantel. Wait.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Sorry,
Which one?
you can, Chantal, you can go. And Melissa, did you want to introduce yourself? Just because I missed you out. Okay, Chantal, go quickly, and then Melissa, and then we'll go back to Chantel, and then Chantal will ask.
Okay, what advice would you give to like a young person who wanted to get into the creative industry, like whether that's acting or dancing or singing? Just what advice?
Well, first of all, definitely like whatever you want to do, don't put yourself in a box. Just 2 years ago, I did a TV show that was produced by 50 Cent, called The Oath. And I never, like, I love performing arts, but I thought, oh, you know, kind of, I'm doing music, that's it. And then I kind of opened my mind. Actually, I really love acting. I want to get into it. And I was able to do that. So I think that, first of all, definitely don't put yourself in a box and don't close anything off. Train hard. I still go to public acting classes now, and I make sure I'm in class, I'm reading plays, and no matter where you get to in your career, you can always better yourself, you can keep learning. That's why I love doing stuff like this, because I also learn from you guys, you know. But I would say just make sure you're dedicated to your art. I did a lot of auditions, like when I was coming up, I guess, when I was like 15, 16, 17. I would do every single gig going. I would go for every single audition, like everything. Like I auditioned for girl bands, I auditioned for West End shows. Like I just didn't really put myself in any kind of box. But the main fundamental thing is to be good at what you do, you know, and hone in your talent, because you can be talented, but if you don't have the dedication and the discipline, then you're not going to get as far as the next person. So you have to be very disciplined. You know, every single day I still am doing an hour of vocal training, warm-ups. I'm a classical singer as well, so I do a lot of opera. And I have to do that every single day. So yeah, discipline, going for everything, making connections like today, collaborating with each other, and yeah, just being as good as you can be at whatever art or skill you're trying to bring forward, I guess.
Cool. Amazing. Thank you. So then, Melissa, did you want to go? Just introduce yourself and say a question, or if not, then you can just pass it on.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm a singer. I don't really sing like as a, oh no, I sing as a hobby, not as a.
She's a singer. She is singer, Leona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sing as a hobby.
No, are you working on anything, Melissa? What are you doing? Are you at college? Are you at what's going on?
I'm at college, but I don't do music. I do something totally different. I do beauty therapy.
That's cool.
So, what's that? So I train to do manicures, pedicures, lashes, etc. So, yeah.
Cool, awesome. Thank you, Melissa. So back to Chantel. So, and also, sorry, I noticed that AJ raised his hand. Can everyone do that? Because if you can, then I'm going to just take a list. So if you guys start raising your hands. No, it's like on the app. Yeah, Brianna went, me. Yeah, it's on the app. So yeah, so oh my gosh, no, now you're all doing it all at once. And now there's just gonna be no difference if we all raise our hands, and it's still gonna be the same thing, innit?
I think go around just people who have them, and then if everyone you take it off once you've asked your question, and only ask one question at a time. Yeah.
Cool, no problem. Okay, so Chantel, sorry, we'll go back to you, and then AJ, you're next. Yeah.
Hi, Leona. Sorry, I forgot to mention I'm 22 years old and I study HND Performing Arts. Okay, question. Question. Wait, I'm allowed to ask 2 questions or only one?
I'd say keep it as one for now, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Pick your.
Okay. Okay. So if you want, what is it like for a person with disability to be in a music industry, to be a musician, a singer, like autism?
You know what? I actually did a duet with this amazing guy. He's autistic. He's a piano player. He won America's Got Talent, and he's a great singer. And he has an amazing career now. And you know, he had a lot of issues with communication skills, and he's also blind. So he had a lot of obstacles to overcome. Um, and he's one of my absolute favorite people that I love to sing with. He's so talented and he's doing amazing things. So it's a challenge, definitely, but it's a challenge that you can definitely overcome and that you can still be in the music industry and have a very, very successful career.
Thank you, Leona. Leona, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chantel. So
Thank
AJ,
you,
all right. AJ.
Hello, yeah. Hi, Leona. My question is that I'm an unsigned artist at the moment. Obviously, I'm releasing my new single soon about what I've been through and to help other people when it comes to mental health. My question is that I'm looking for a distribution deal or a publishing deal. Is it quite easy to get a distribution or a publishing deal for the message that I'm putting out there in the world?
Yeah, I think that it's interesting because right now I'm an independent artist. So, you know, I've been in major deals, I've been an independent artist, and I feel like keeping that independence is an amazing thing because you have a lot of control over how you put things out, over what you put out, over your whole brand. You know, you have a lot of control in that way. And I'd say if the material is, you have to just look for people that believe in your message, you know? So you have to go out there, knock on all the doors and find the people that get what you're trying to put across and that all have that same vision and want to support you in that. So I think it is about, yeah, just finding those people, knocking down all those doors and presenting your message.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cool. I have Tamara next.
Hi Leona again. Yeah, I wanted to ask, you know, because of obviously I was saying obviously I do fashion as well. So, you know, kind of what you were saying, how, you know, collaborating fashion and music. Could you kind of just expand on that, please?
Yeah. So it's funny because I love fashion. Basically, do you lot know where you must know Ridley Road Market? My dad had like a fashion store called Trends there. So I grew up around women's clothing, fashion. My mum would like make the clothes and stud the jackets in the back, and then we'd sell them in the front. So I was very much into fashion and that whole creative, the creative process of fashion. Sorry. All right. But yeah, I think that whenever I did my first 3 albums, I collaborated with Vivienne Westwood, Roberta Cavalli, like big fashion houses, because I wanted a certain look basically for my albums, like whether it was the materials, the fabrics, the flowy dresses, the patterns that they used. It kind of, I don't know, expressed what I wanted to bring across in the visuals, because music and visuals are so strong together. So I feel like artists like Rihanna, for example, and like
Yeah.
Fenty, like she embodies her brand. Like that's just part of her. Her line is an extension of her artistry. So I feel like Lady Gaga, I'm obviously taking like the, huge names, but same thing, like their fashion is an extension of their artist. So I think that they definitely go hand in hand. And a lot of designers are inspired by artists. There are a lot of designers that see what artists are doing and like put that into their collections. A lot of artists that collaborate with designers. So yeah, I just think it's another extension of our creativity.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Tamara. Next we have Mahesh.
So yeah, I have a question about finding your sound. So like, I know you've been singing for quite a few years. So like, what did you do that helped you like define your sound and the type of music that you make? It's quite a broad question, so apologies. Yeah.
I get you though, because whenever someone says, "Oh, like, what's your sound?" or what, it's so hard to like pin it into one thing. And growing up, I listened to so many. I was inspired by so much different music. Like my dad's record collection, the OJs, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, all of those kind of Motowny artists that my dad would listen to. I was really inspired by that. And then my mum would play like Bowie, the Rolling Stones, folk music. Like, so I had that as well. And then as I was growing up, I loved garage, R&B, soul. So I had so many things that I was inspired by. But the main thing for me was like soul, kind of R&B. That was like where my heart was at. And I think because of the artists that I listened to growing up, like SWV, Brandy, Whitney Houston, old school, kind of like Minnie Riperton, people like that. That's kind of where I kind of started leaning towards. And then that's kind of how I found what I wanted to do, by kind of almost being inspired by their music and taking like little bits from the people that I love. Like, what do I love about what they do? Like Minnie Riperton, I loved how she used her vocal range. Siobhan was saying about the whistle notes, like her whistle range is incredible. So I pulled a little bit from that. I pulled a little bit from R&B. I pulled a little bit from pop. I pulled a little bit from. I like just pulled from everywhere and then just made it into my own, basically. So that's a broad answer, but that's just how I kind of came to my sound.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Leona. So next we have Brian.
Hey, I just wanted to ask, in terms of like vocals, like what are the kind of exercises you do? And then also, yeah, I think that's it. Just what are the kind of exercises you do that help enhance voice?
With the demonstrations.
Yeah. I do like a lot of
Ooh, we gonna get a show, y'all. Yes.
Like my favorite one is like going up and down the scales, like doing that. That's like how I always start. And then I do like lip rolls with the tongue, like that kind of stuff. And then I go into like bigger scales with like E's and A's and open vowels. I usually, depending how I feel, I usually warm up like the high register first and then come down. But just lots of, there's a really good teacher called Brett Manning who you can go online and he has all of the stuff, like you can just download it, all of the exercises. So Brett Manning, I can send it to you again. And I do a lot of his vocal exercises because he accesses like all different parts of the voice. And honestly, I'm still working on my voice. I still want to, you know, extend my range. I still am working on like the mid range. I have a strong high, a strong low. My mid range is where I find it challenging. So I'm really working on that still, even now. And as you get older, your voice changes. So you have to adapt your exercises to, you know, what you used to do. So yeah, Brett Manning, I would say, if you want to go and like get some really good vocal exercises.
Sweet, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Brianna?
I wanted to ask, so you're an independent artist now, and I was wondering if you just feel as if you should have been an independent artist from the beginning, because I'd love to be an independent artist, but things like funding for music videos and studio time and stuff like that, that I feel like a record label offers. I just wanted to know.
And that's the dilemma. I was an independent artist. What I got independent, I did have a production deal. So I had a production company behind me. So even though I was still independent, I still had a bit of support in being able to go to the studio. But I really think that now, like, back when I was kind of coming up, I'm an old lady now, like it was a bit different because we didn't have streaming and things like that. Whereas now there's so many platforms for independent artists to be heard. So I feel like it is, I don't know, there's such a beauty in keeping that independence. But also there are platforms out there in which you can get funding, and again collaborating with each other. If you, again, like back in the day, to go to a studio was the thing that I would do, but you don't have to be in like a big massive studio. You can like make stuff at home and just put it online yourself. You can collaborate with Brianna, you can collaborate with Ashley. She can help you make your content. Like, you know, there are things that you can do independently first to lay the groundwork. And then if it comes to it where you're like, okay, like I need the funding, like I need to do this, that, and the other, then you can seek a major deal. But you are, you know, by doing that, you're giving things away on the back end. So you have to kind of weigh up what you want, if you want to keep everything, or if you want to kind of get money in the front end and then give back in the back end, basically.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's a dilemma for sure. But you know, we all start out as independent artists, and it really depends which way you want to go, and if you find a label that again believe in you and believe in the vision and what you want to do. But the first thing you have to do is, you know, get your songs together and get your package together if you do want to seek a deal, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Can I just say as well, if you can't find the raise hand button, you can just put it in the chat and then I'll just add you to the bottom of the list. So up next, we've got Reese.
You all right? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sweet. Hello, Leona. So obviously, I perform in theatres. That's like my area. That's my most favourite thing to do. I've travelled the world before, but to me, theatre is where my heart is. What I want to know is obviously you started out in theatres and then worked your way up to obviously X Factor and became huge. Which well done, by the way. I know you're still releasing music and stuff, and that's incredible. But what I want to know is how did you struggle mental health wise? Because I know mental health can have a massive impact within the music industry, and a lot of big artists take a massive fall from that. So I wanted to know if you like had any problems yourself and how you got through them, or what you tell your younger self in order to get through, kind of thing.
Oh, that's such a good question. I would tell my younger self like to not care as much. About, oh, you might have to mute really while I talk, just because to not care as much about, you know, all the opinions flying around, um, because really it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're staying true to yourself and you're doing what you love and you're connecting with people. But definitely, like, I think we all suffer in some way our own challenges with mental health, whether it's like feeling a bit down one day or feeling very, very down, like very, very dark. Like we all have our different levels of where we're at. And to have that in the public eye is definitely very, very challenging. And I've had to kind of make sure that I keep a lot of my privacy, which is why you probably don't see me out and about all the time. Like I kind of very much try and keep a certain side of myself very private. I also have a good support network around me now. Um, that has taken, you know, a while to build up, but I know the people that I can trust, the people that I can talk to, the people that I can vent to, you know, when I need to. And the saving grace in all of it for me is that I have music. Like, I have music to put all of those emotions, that darkness, that whatever it is that I'm feeling, I have that to put into the work that I'm doing. And a lot of people don't. So I think one lucky thing as an artist is that we can use our, you know, our down days, our days when we're not feeling good about ourselves, and we can put that into our work and what we do. And that's how I kind of cope with it. Um, but that is a good question because it's something that I feel like all of us can relate to, especially now, more than ever. A lot of people are suffering mental health. I have friends, family that are suffering really, really badly, and it's really challenging. So I think it's important to keep the art alive within ourselves, to use this time to be creative, to write, to keep expressing, to I don't know, you know, make content at home, like whatever it is you want to do, like just keep doing it. And also like talking about it as well, like being open about it. It shouldn't be a taboo. It shouldn't be something that we're hiding or we shouldn't speak up about, which is why I love what you're doing, AJ, you know, like talking about it and talking about your challenges and your difficulties, because there's a lot of people that can relate to that, and a lot you can help a lot of people as well as helping yourself by doing it. You're going to help people when they listen to it, knowing that someone else is going through the same stuff that you're going through. Yeah, so long-winded answer, but I could talk about it for hours, but I'll leave it there.
That's a good question, definitely. Thank you. Faith?
Hi, my question is just more about your songwriting process. So I was just wondering like how you get yourself into a space where you can really open up and overcome any form of pressure you may feel when you're trying to put pen to paper.
You know, it's so funny because I was with an artist yesterday, and I was kind of talking to her about the same thing, and we were talking about when we feel most free to write and to just experiment with our voices, you know, because sometimes you can go and record and I don't know if people are there, like maybe you won't do certain things that you would if no one was there. You know, you're not afraid to sound crap or do something weird with your voice, or write something or write something weird, or you know, be afraid of what people think. So I think it's important for me personally, to like have my own thoughts first, which is why I do the journaling and the writing, and just getting those thoughts out so that they're just on paper in whatever form. Doesn't matter, you know, if it doesn't make sense, if it's just all jumbled, it doesn't matter, because then I'll go back and I'll look at it, and there will be kind of semblance of ideas that I can take from that. Maybe I've written 10 sentences, but there'll be one that I'm like, oh, okay, where did that come from? And then I kind of investigate that thought. Okay, why did I write that? What was I thinking at the time? And I kind of just, that's my process. That's how I kind of come up with the concept and the lyrics. And I think everyone has a different way of doing it. There's also a really good book called The Artist's Way, which I really love, and it really helps you get into like a creative space and to tune into your artist and kind of what you want to say. So it's called The Artist's Way. If you want to get that, put it on your, I don't know, Christmas list, and someone can get it for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next we've got Alana.
Hi.
Hi.
So my question is, how is it with me when I perform? Even though I really love performing, I still get so nervous, like it's really bad. So how would you say that I could get over that anxiety when I perform?
That's a good question, because I'm someone that also suffers with nerves. I get very anxious. It's weird because I get excited, but sometimes that excitement can tip over the edge to a bit like shaky, which can sometimes then affect my performance. So I've done a few different things to kind of try and combat it. I drink chamomile tea, which is really calming for the nervous system, because that's where the nerves are coming from. Like, I've done so much research into it. It's all about the nervous system and how it reacts to certain stimulus outside. So yeah, the chamomile tea. I've got some breathing techniques that I also do to just ground myself and, sorry, my dog's going crazy, to ground myself and make sure that I'm really kind of with my body and that I'm breathing from the right place, because obviously as a singer, the breath work is so important. So breathing techniques, the tea, and also kind of a bit of meditation, like taking time to have, like, whether it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes, to just sit, be quiet, have a minute, do the breathing, sip my tea, and kind of calm myself down. And I feel like what also calms me is if I very much know what I'm doing, like I'm really prepared. I know all the songs, probably I know my lyrics, and you know, all of those little things that might add on to the weird anxiousness that you can get. And also like, I know this might sound cheesy, but just like giving yourself a bit of grace and loving yourself through it a bit, even if you do have a performance that's a bit nerve-wracking. Like, don't be hard on yourself about it, because then the next time that's going to be in your mind. So kind of letting it go a bit and being in the moment with every performance, not thinking too much about, oh, what's going to happen if this happens, or what's going to, just be in it. And if you're in front of an audience, I think really connecting to your audience as well. And also saying on the mic, being like, do you know what? I feel really friggin' nervous right now.
Fun of it. That's a good thing.
Get rid of it, because then people are with you. They're like, oh, she feels nervous. Like, you're human. Like, we're all human.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, let me start again, because I just messed up my lines. Let me start again. So not being afraid to do that and be with your audience. Yeah.
And I think, sorry, just to say something else about that, I think never diminish your star quality. Like, go on stage and know that you're the T all the time. These people are never going to see you again, so go and give them a show right now. That's what I go on stage telling myself all the time. And for me, that's what just kills my nerves altogether. Go in, know that you're the T, know that you're that girl or that boy, that whoever, like just know, and just boss it all the time, and just know that these people are never going to see you again. So who cares at the end of the day, really? Yeah. So thank you. Ashley, next.
Hi. Ooh, can you
Hi.
hear me? Okay. My question is if you ever felt imposter syndrome, and if so, how do you handle the nerves and pressure with it? Because right now I'm really young in my career and I've been getting these really amazing opportunities. That's really, really exciting. I recently got casted into an Amazon Prime series, and like it's that feeling of, it's my first ever like high profile production in a sense, and it's like, oh my goodness, how can I, it's that thing of how I end up here, and especially the nerves and the pressure to do well. How do you handle that, as particularly in a really professional, never before done environment? Like, I'm wondering if you've ever had any experiences with that.
So let me just correct. Imposter syndrome, is that when you like you're somewhere but you feel like you don't deserve to be there, or you're not?
It's like when you're like, oh, I'm here, how the heck am I here? I'm no way inexperienced to be here. It's like kind of like a self inward thing, it's like down talks almost. And I was wondering, how do you, especially when you first emerge into a professional environment with really high people?
You got cast in this for a reason, because they want you there and because you're talented. So I feel like you shouldn't really have the imposter syndrome, because you're there for a reason, and everyone started somewhere, like how did people get to where they go? Like they start somewhere. So I would say learn from your surroundings, and don't be afraid to be like, this, I've never done this before. There's a real beauty in doing something with a beginner's mindset, because you see things differently. And you might do things not the same as someone else would do, but maybe in that respect it will be better, or it will be, surprising or spontaneous, and that will be the thing that kind of gives you the edge. So I would say learn from people around you, but also don't be afraid to be like, I've never done this before. I don't really know that much what I'm doing, but I'm passionate about it, and I want to, add to what we're doing here. And obviously, I don't know the specifics of the project that you're talking about, so I can't go into specifics. But yeah, I would say not being afraid to be the beginner and to learn from your surroundings.
Thank you so much.
Have the confidence as well to know that, you were picked to be there for you're there for a reason. It's not an accident that any of us are where we are. There's a reason, and they wanted you to be there because they want your talent and they see your talent. And just learn, and Google stuff if you don't know it. Just Google.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Next we have Maz.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, do you have any advice for like setting goals in like this particular industry, and how has the way you set goals changed as you've matured as an artist in your career, if they have?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Setting goals and actually knowing what you want to do is so, so important. And still to this day, like, I definitely believe in setting goals. And even if they change and the goalposts move, it's fine. But setting an intention behind what you want to do and where you want to get to, even if it seems impossible, is important. I remember, like, I would do like a 3-year plan, a year plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan of where I wanted to be. And the goals moved and changed, but I still kind of aimed. It gave me somewhere to aim. And I'm trying to think, like, back to like when I first started, I was like, okay, I want to release an EP and do a video. Like that was my like year and a half goal or something. And I just did everything I could to like make that happen in whatever way, even if it was just, you know, the most rickety, like get my dad to do it in our garden outside. I don't know, whatever it was, I would make sure that somehow I did it. And now, yeah, I definitely have goals. The goals have definitely gotten bigger for me, and I feel like I've become more ambitious. And I don't know if they'll happen, but I'm still, you know, setting my sights high. I just started writing a TV show, and my goal is that I want to sell it on Netflix. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen. It's a big ambition. I've never done it before, but I'm knocking down all the doors and seeing who's going to listen to me, you know, and it's all set around music and stuff. So I still have goals. I still set them. I still try and go for them however I can. And I think it's important to have it because it also gives you a plan and an idea of where you're going. So you're not just in this rut of, okay, well, I'm doing this, but is there a destination I'm trying to reach? What am I doing it for? Why am I doing it? You know, as well, being clear with your intentions.
Thank you. So next we have Siobhan.
Hello. Yeah, sorry, I wrote down my question somewhere. Where did I put it? My question for you was that when you're focusing, kind of like the question you just answered, but when you are setting a goal, when it comes to like when you hit that brick wall, because I feel like even when you set a goal, you kind of hit that brick wall, and that's the thing that could even make you stop or make you carry on. When you hit that brick wall, how do you kind of like steadily break it down and like to continue to get to the point where you wanted to go?
Yeah, I definitely have had like a lot of brick wall moments, a lot of like closed doors, a lot of people that have said no, a lot of things that I've wanted to do, I felt like there's no way around it. And it's hard when you get those moments, it's hard. And I've had times where I've been like, oh, should I be doing this? Is this what I really want to do? Like, it's really hard to pick yourself up after that. But all I can say is that if you're passionate, if you have the passion and that like burning drive to do it, there's nothing really that's gonna then stop you. And I feel like that's what I've leaned on whenever there's been a no or a this or a that. Yeah, I might have a while where I'm like, oh, you know, like feeling down about it.
Yeah.
But the passion and the drive to do what I love kind of overrides that. And I've always then been able to find another way around it. And I feel like it's fine. Like, give yourself that grace and that moment to be like, this is really, I was going to swear, but I'm not going to swear. This is really crap. Like, you know, like, give yourself a moment to have that, but don't wallow in it for too long. You know, you can feel that, move on. And oftentimes, like, sometimes I've been so like rebellious. I've been like, okay, you're saying no, watch. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna like prove you wrong. So like that kind of, use that a bit as well, like that rebellious, like, you know, whatever, like let me go over to the next thing and kill this instead and like prove myself in that way. So like, you know, just using that to drive you a bit, and leaning on, yeah, your passion for what you do. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Nicole.
Hi, Leona. My question is, how do you deal with, so you see when you like write a song, and I feel like I'm a person that spends a lot of time like thinking about whether the song is good or not, and I think I also want to like I'll ask myself like, what message am I getting across, and is this even going to make sense to anyone? And I find all these ways in which like I label the song as like bad, And then I kind of end up feeling really like I shouldn't continue with that song because it's bad. And I mean, like, how do you deal with like your own judgment of your songs?
I am my own worst critic. Like, I have written so many songs and like then just put them away. Like written, put it away, written, put it away. But I have one person that I always send like every single thing to, because I really trust their kind of opinion. Because sometimes you can be so deep in a song that almost like you can't hear it anymore. Like there's no objective. Um, and some of my favorite songs now are songs that I've written, I don't know, like 7 years ago or something. And then I've come back to it and I've like re-fallen in love with it. So you might have songs that you write and you're like, oh, nah. But what I would say is just see it through. Like, just see it through, finish the song. If it's one that you're like, actually, no, put it to the wayside and come back to it with fresh ears because you'll probably hear it differently when you come back to it. Um, and again, like, don't be so judgmental to yourself as well. Don't be so harsh on yourself, because I don't think that really helps when you're kind of judging your art, especially like how I think a lot of us write. It's from a very like heartfelt place. So if you're then judging it, it's kind of like, I don't know, you're like judging yourself. So I'd say if you have people around you that you trust their opinions, you know, send it to them, sing it to them, perform for them, and get their opinions as well. Don't just rely on yourself. And yeah, listen to a song with fresh ears as well, I would say.
Thank you so much.
So I think everyone's had at least one question, or everyone that wants to have one question has had one question. So now I have a question, and I don't know whether this one is kind of like I don't really know. But anyways, I'm gonna ask it anyway because I'm controversial like that. What is your favorite song that is like your song? What's your favorite Leona Lewis song? Is that a bad question? Because I really want to know that.
It's not a bad question, it's a good question. My favorite Leona Lewis song.
Yeah.
Person. I wrote a song called, can I say more than one?
Yeah, of course.
A song called Happy that I wrote.
Oh yeah, love Happy.
That's one of my favorites. Again, I wrote it about, it was so deep, like just like really wanting to find my own kind of inner happiness and what makes me happy, music, friends, family, whatever it is, and following that. And you know, I had a dream to be a singer, to be a songwriter, to be an artist, to have records out. Happy is kind of about the journey that it took to get there.
Yeah.
Although it's called Happy, the song's quite dark. You guys can go and listen to it, but it's quite a like dark chords, but the message is uplifting. But then there is that kind of true, like, you know, like this is what I was going through. I was like on the edge, you know, ready to jump, like ready to fall. But you know what? No matter what it takes to do this, I'm going to do it. Doesn't matter if it hurts me. Doesn't matter if the world is falling apart and burnt. Like, I'm going to do what I need to do. So I like the message in that song. And then one more song. It's hard because I got a few, but so
I love Run. Run is also. Me and Siobhan actually we sung in the choir at Royal Albert Hall for your Glass Heart tour with you in 2013. Yeah, it was lit.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's such a just a big song.
That's a tune,
Love
boy. Ooh.
that song. And with the choir as well, like I love
Yeah.
using choirs in my songs. They're just, I don't know, it just brings it to life in a whole new way. Like it just gives the song a whole new dimension. But yeah, Happy, yeah, Run. And then I have a song called Yesterday that I really love as well. which is about it's about kind of losing a loved one, and but just like remembering the memories that you had with them. So yeah, probably those are two of them. Yeah.
Amazing. No, definitely. I mean, you're such an inspiration to a lot of us. Like, just to see you on X Factor, to grow up watching you, it's just, it has been like your journey's been our journey too, you know, because I've been watching you for God knows how long. And it's just been great to see you just blossom and grow and happy.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. So now we've got like, I think just a couple more questions left. So I'm going to go down the list again for the people that have second questions. So Chantel, because I know you had a question, like you said you wanted to do 2 questions, remember? So do you remember the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you want to say it?
Yeah. Leona, I know this is gonna sound really weird, but how do you handle fame? Like, how do you handle it? What's it like being like really big and famous? How do you handle it? Because you got like a lot of people all around you, like millions of fans, like millions of followers. So how do you handle it?
That's a really good question because it's something I didn't really think about when before I was famous. Like I always thought about, okay, this is what I want to do. But I didn't think about the things that came with it because that wasn't really that's not why I do what I do. Um, but then obviously like winning the show and then having a huge audience was amazing because then I was able to get my music out in a huge way. But then it had the side of, okay, now everyone knows my business. So it was like, it was difficult to deal with. It's basically like the world knowing, like, what you had for breakfast this morning, which is not interesting at all. But I think that's probably, yeah, what I'm like, I'm quite, I don't know, I'm like a homebody. Like I stay at home with my family. I don't do anything crazy. I'm a normal girl and I love my music.
Yeah.
It was a bit difficult, definitely in the beginning, and getting followed by photographers that want to take a picture of you, and then there's people that want bad pictures of you and stuff like that, and that's not so great to deal with. That is the crappy side of what I do, but I know it's like a balance. It comes with what I do, so I just try to balance it as much as possible and kind of try and forget about that side of it a little bit and focus on what the true message is as to why I want to do this and why I am doing it.
Okay. Thank you, Leona.
Cool. Amazing. So we're almost at the end of this amazing talk. It's been fun. It's been great. So Leona, did you want to introduce the challenge?
Yeah, so because I want to, have an ongoing discussion with you guys and keep connecting with you, and hopefully, like at some point, we'll all be together in person. But I know all of you guys are songwriters, so I wanted to set this challenge slash work kind of creative endeavor, and I wanted you to write or compose a song or piece around this poem. And it's a really short poem, but it's from one of my favorite poetry books, and I just really loved the message, especially for now. The book's called Your Soul is a River, and the poem is called, I've got so many, it's crazy, like I've like marked so many pages on this book. But anyway, the poem's called Dark and Light. Um, it's very short. And then she reminded me there may be darkness within this world, but inside us the light burns brighter than you could ever know. So I basically wanted you to kind of take this poem and just take it in and use it as the spark of an idea, because I often use poetry or lines, and it kind of sparks my creativity and my imagination. So if you take the kind of idea and then just do with it what you want, like just let it spark your creativity, write a song, write a poem, write a piece, kind of centered around that. And we'll send you, you know, we'll send you like a email or or whatever of the text. And then the challenge is to come up with something inspired by that. Just dig deep into yourself and then just come up with something, and we'll all share together the next time we meet.
Cool, awesome. So yeah, these are going to be by video submission. Do we have a date that we're going to do these by?
I think January. I think we're gonna. Yeah.
January.
Yeah.
Cool, awesome. So yeah, we're going to do that. I think we'll send you all the details, I guess. But yeah, thank you so much, Leona. It's been a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure. It's been good to see everyone. It's such a crazy time, but I'm glad that we have Zoom so we can do this.
Should we all do a clap even though we can't hear each other? Yay!